All right, well, welcome everyone to this meeting of the Virtual IMS User Group. Thank you for joining us. Sorry for the slightly delayed start. I'm Trevor Eddles, I'm CEO of iTech Limited, and we're a mainframe consultancy, analysis and technical authoring organisation. And we're responsible for the content on the Virtual IMS website, and we produce the newsletters. So you can find us at itech-ed.com/virtual IMS. Okay, first of all, I'd like to run through the agenda for this meeting. As usual, most of the meeting will be taken up with the presentation. And today, as you probably heard, our guest presenter is Haley Fung. She's the IBM Product Manager for IMS and Ansible for Z. And her talk today is entitled Ansible and IMS, Automate IMS with Red Hat Ansible Certified Content for IBM Z. And a copy of the slides from this presentation should be on our website later today. And if you've missed any of our previous meetings, you can download copies of the presentations from our website as well. It's on our resources page. Following Haley's presentation and any questions you have for her, we'll move on to the latest IMS news, latest IMS related articles. Feedback requests is there to remind me to ask you for your feedback about this virtual meeting. Then I'll give you the times and the dates for the next couple of virtual meetings. So that's the plan. I'm hoping that we'll last about another 50 minutes from now. Anyway, as I just said, today's presentation is from Haley Fung. Haley is IBM Product Manager for IMS and Ansible for Z. She drives product direction in building solutions for enterprise modernization and integration for IMS and automation solutions for Z. Haley is a frequent presenter at global technical conferences. Her deep technical expertise and her passion and dedication for customers have helped many IMS and Z customers to modernize and enhance their application infrastructures, as well as automating their Z resources with Ansible. So, Haley, I'd like to thank you very much for being with us today, and let's pass control over to you. Let's stop sharing first of all. And let's make you presenter. Right, you should be able to share your screen now.
All right, thank you very much, Trevor. Okay, so share.
Right,
Yes.
I can see it.
Perfect. So I'm going to talk over my video. Apologize, probably is not going to be the best experience. So what I'm thinking is after this presentation, I'll try to make that video available in our community website. This is a very new IMS updated web page that we were hosting. We try to put a lot of education and media content there. So as soon as I have it available, I will share with everyone. It's gonna probably take me some time because of the processing of the video, but I think that probably will be the best approach. So again, apologize for a little delayed and probably you not like a best presentation probably you will find today, but I hope that the video afterwards will kind of make up for it. Okay, so this presentation, I'm going to talk to you about Ansible and IMS. So basically about, I think a little more a year ago, we have been focusing on how to help our clients to best, focusing on how we can help our customers to modernize the automation on the mainframe or the IBM Z platform, specifically all the different components of software that you have been running on mainframe. And many of you probably have a lot of scripts that is already automated on the platform. So what we were trying to see is how we actually can help you to be able to use the common automation tooling, right? Like those that have been used on the distributed platform, on the cloud platform, and you can apply it to the mainframe environment. So in this presentation, I'm going to give you a high-level overview of the uh, the Ansible for Z platform, as well as specific to draw in some of the use cases for IMS as well. And I have actually the demo there, but because it's my architect, Brian, is actually going to go through it. So we'll see how that video goes and maybe able to talk through it. Otherwise, I will again share with that demo with you afterwards. Okay, and I forgot to do the play button. All right. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk to you about the Red Hat Ansible Certified Content from IBM Z. We're going to talk about why automation with IBM Z is important, share with you some use cases, and then we're going to dive into the IMS collections, again with some use cases, demo, and finally to tell you how to easily get started with the Red Hat Ansible Certified Content from IBM Z. This is actually a little bit difficult, so let me actually share the presentation as well. I'm so sorry about that. So just easy for me to control. Can you guys still see my screen?
Sorry, yes, that's
Okay.
fine.
Thank you. All right, so let me just go back. All right, so first of all, let me talk a little bit more about why it's important for the modern automation from IBM Z, right? So that pretty much three main points: consistency, skills, and infrastructure as code. So as I mentioned that most of you already have your mainframe system really pretty much fully automated, that I believe, right? There may be some of the components or pieces that may not be as efficiently automated as you wish, but I truly believe many of you have, especially on your IMS system, there are many pieces that has actually already been automated. But when we actually look at the enterprise these days, a lot of the automations, especially if we look at use cases like DevOps, it does require automations across multiple environment and system. And a lot of times, customer pain point have been telling us it's actually difficult to do automation across multiple systems because of the different tooling that has been used, right? You have your cloud or distributed platform using one set of toolings, but for mainframe, it's very specific, mainframe tools and require mainframe skills as well. So that's why if you look at the whole automation platform, it's just hard to integrate the different components together from end to end. And it's also the lack amount of skills, especially for the IBM Z and the mainframe platform, that has been lacking to find, because we require specific skills to do certain tasks on the mainframe platform. So that's why it's very important that many of customers recognize this need. They would like to have a consistent set of toolings, skills that can be actually leveraged across the board, doesn't really matter which environment and different system, and they will be able to use the same set of languages that they can build their automation script and to be able to use it for multiple environment and platform. And the more and more that people are actually moving to calling this infrastructure as code. So now we're kind of programming your system, not just for programming your application, but you can also write programs and script to help you to automate the different things to help you with like day-to-day operations and tasks. So that's why it's very important, for these three pieces that we would like to be able to offer a solution for you more out of the box, provide you the out of the box experience that you'll be able to use a very common and popular automation platform to help you to do automation on the IBM Z as well. Okay. So the Ansible automation, the reason why we pick Ansible is Ansible has been industry proven, which is one of the most common automation platform in enterprises. So when we talk to many of our customers, a lot of them have been using Ansible on the distributed platform. They just don't know and don't use it on the IBM Z because they don't even know this capability is now available. But they have been using Ansible to writing playbooks for automation for many years. And Ansible itself is a whole platform that provides you, multiple components. It has the engine itself. It has the Ansible tower that help you to operate and orchestrate the different tasks together, be able to have a better, control, as well as hosted services, right? Also help you to provide users and build up a community per se to help you to focus the overall end-to-end experience. So you just don't feel that you are now only have this set of skills that is more mainframe specific. You will be able to easily find other samples, other playbooks that have been used by other clients or other platform that you'll be able to actually pick up and reuse. So kind of the notion of the support of the open source community in Ansible, and Ansible also provides you support services, enterprise level support, which is very important for many of the clients, and that's why Ansible is one of the most popular automation platform for a number of reasons, for all these reasons. So as I mentioned earlier, we had about a year and a half, or like around March 2020, we have introduced the Red Hat Ansible certified content from IBM Z, right? So our goal for providing this offering is to provide a set of certified collections that can help you to accelerate to use Ansible with the IBM Z environment, that can help you to improve, right, the overall efficiency for automation, make your automation more visible and integratable with the other environment, and make it really simple, right? And can help you to adopt the skills that you already have to enterprise. And these are the numbers. Probably not accurate anymore because I have, get this number a couple months ago when I first created this presentation. But what this number shows you is the amount of interest for the Ansible adoption and usage and learning about Ansible, how it can be applied for the IBM Z. So we have actually a lot of downloads. I'm going to go through what we have in terms of the content. Then we have all these conferences that we have been presenting, a lot of attendees. We also have an IBM Z trial that allow our client to actually, without any installation, to get that first-hand experience with Ansible, and so that to give you some idea on how you can apply into your environment as well. So it has been a really popular offerings that since it was born, and we have a lot of client interactions and POC ongoing at this day as well. So now let's look a little bit about the client use cases. So first of all, I want to point out the use cases that is identified here is not only the use cases that we think will be applicable to you. These are actually collections of use cases. Is after we talk to our clients, they give us the feedback on what they see Ansible can apply in their environment. So is in about around 6 different categories that we have heard from our clients that they see that how Ansible can directly apply into environment in terms of automations on the IBM Z system. So first of all, it's around the provision and maintenance, right? So they can see Ansible can be used so that they can write playbooks to help them to build and provision middleware system. So for example, like bringing up your IMS, TM, and DB system from scratch. So some of the clients looking at that they would like to if they apply for maintenance, for example, right, they do want to set up a new IMS instance to actually go through the regression testing and buckets. So this can help them to provision the IMS environment and also provision the applications, database and whatnot, so that they can actually automate the test. So the second use case is about rolling out, fixed fixes, which is kind of similar. So you can actually apply your, PTF or fixes in your environment and then be able to actually test out just to make sure that all the applications still run okay. And then the other one is a self-service provisioning portal, which a lot of clients is really interested to be able to establish environments that in the future, their application developer will be able to just go into a development portal with a one-click button, from the web browser, and then they will be able to actually provision a kind of like a mini IMS system, which is dedicated from them to use, right? So that could actually leverage some of our other technology like CDNT environments so that they will be able to provision an IMS instance, right, as well as with the application and database that they need, and they can actually use it for the development without affecting others. So this will be a different paradigm than most of the customer today that are using like a share LPAR with many users using it, but be able to actually do a more virtualized a copy of the environment such that the developer can actually use it on their own, and Ansible can help you to build the automation script around it to actually make that happen. And IBM also have some DevOps offerings and tools that kind of help you to accelerate with that goal as well. Another category is about configuration management. Two of the very popular scenario that we've heard from our customers is configurations as well as network and security, right? And so there are tons of customers that today they may have like a basic script that's kind of bring up the default environment, but they do want to do some additional configuration. So, Ansible can help them with them. The other one is about security automation. We have heard of a lot of clients that they are still using some kind of manual process or ticketing system to, creating the password or, renewing the, SSL certificate, and even though pieces of it is being automated, but tend to be siloed. They are actually looking for ways to automate those processes, which is today is a pretty manual, or actually orchestrate the different pieces of little automation together so that they can integrate it into an existing like a ticketing process. So that one is also very popular. CI/CD is the huge use case. So this is about the use case and how you'll be able to build new automation, or how do you actually be able to integrate your existing IMS application deployment process into an existing DevOps pipeline across the enterprise. So Ansible in this case could be used for helping you to provision your application environment, can help you to do application deployment, or actually just being the glue code or orchestrator to help you to invoke the different scripts that you already had in terms of the application deployment process. So can allows you to for example, to be able to reuse your, JCL in terms of some of the application environment setup. Oh, sorry. There's a timer a little bit about that, but let me actually just finish the previous one, the previous chart. And so yeah, that kind of like the orchestration is also a big piece as well. And the last use case is more about the audit and security configuration like information collections as well. And I kind of want to highlight that is because we have heard a lot of customers that they have requirements in terms of auditing, right? So you need to collect information to provide to show your auditor. So Ansible can also be used at, as a case to help you to kind of facilitate the automation for collecting information around your environment. Okay, so now I've kind of highlighted a little bit about the use case, and let me actually jump into the content a little bit. And then I will just say a few words about how Ansible kind of fit into your existing automation perspective. So in terms of our content of our Red Hat Ansible certified content from IBM Z, we actually have 6 collections that is available today. Now these six collections are kind of built in. We provide modules that are actually available to you, accessible from the Ansible Red Hat Ansible certified content platform. So the first one is called the one of the first basic collection is called the IBM ZOS Core Collection. And what this is I saw that message pop up. I'll talk about DB2 in a minute. So don't be sad. You will hear some news about it. So the IBM ZOS Core Collection basically contains modules to help you to do all the interaction. This is really frustrating. I'm so sorry. Because they have some kind of built-in timer advance the chart automatically because it's a video embedded in it. All right, so where am I? Yeah, so the core collection itself, right? So we can actually do like, accessing the data set, invoking JCL and all sort of basic operation with the mainframe system. You can use our functionality within the core collection to build script to do that. Pretty much cover all the basics that you need. And then we have additional collections that actually cover the different middleware of different products. So on the mainframe, so including interaction with the system automation, with a CUSMF, KICS, IMS, and also CHMC as well. So now these are the collections available within the offering. Now there are also additional content that is not presented as part of a collections available in the Ansible platform, and that's where we call them as the Playbook samples. So there are additional content, for example, like covering ZOS Connect, DB2, MQ, WebSphere Liberty, Urban Code Deploy, and then also future upcoming like ZOS Broker and also some of the storage solution. We have also content available today in a sample playbook format that is available in our playbook repository for our offering that you can actually download to use for your automation need. And the reason we do it is because some of the content that we had, especially with some of the products, they already have like a established like RESTful APIs for doing some of the automation. So some of these we don't really necessarily need to have a specific collection for that middleware because we do have like a basic URI modules that come up with the core collections that you can actually use to actually interact with your middleware system to do your needs. So for example, since I saw that DB2 questions pop up, so what you will see in our sample repository, we do have a couple of sample playbooks available for DB2 use cases. We have one for the schema provisioning, and then we have also some discovery for the DB2 system as well. So those are the available ones that you can actually find it today. And then I also want to also highlight that the other ones that we had today is a ZOS Connect. So ZOS Connect, we also have sample playbook available for you to do a provisioning of the ZOS Connect system and also deploying your ZOS Connect API and services. We have samples for covering the MQ queues, managing your local queues, as well as some of the Kix resources as well. So Kix is also available as a collections. And one of the upcoming things that we will have very soon as a sample is Liberty. So we can actually instantiate or provision a website Liberty system, and also with some of the application deployment. And in terms of UCD, we do have a demo to showcase how you can actually use UCD together with Ansible. So for example, you can use Ansible to help you to provision an application environment and have UCD to help you to deploy to manage your application deployment if you're already using UCD today. You can actually call Ansible from UCD, or you can have Ansible calling UCD processes as well. So it, very, you can actually have different options to help you to integrate the different components together. One of the key points before I actually move on to the IMS collection is to actually tell you about how Ansible in general fit in and how will you actually adopt Ansible. Because one of the questions that we often heard from our clients is, asking us, is Ansible replacing their automation? Is that another tool trying to replace something that they already been using? So the simple answer is no. What we actually want Ansible is to really help you to be able to modernize your system. So you do have a choice in terms of how you adopting Ansible. Many of our clients, they choose to adopt Ansible is really as a start to help them to be able to slowly modernize the environment such that they can have, you know, new developers or new system programmer that can come on board and be able to use some of these modern skills in terms of automation. So you can actually starting with using Ansible by identify some of the existing components which is not automated yet, right? So if you have something that you would like to automate, you have the choice to either use your traditional method with a JCL or Rex, or you can use an Ansible playbook to do a more modern way of doing automation, right? So with the Ansible offering for C offering, now you do have a choice. You don't have to be locked in to still use the traditional script or skill set to actually do automation. You now will be able to use some modern tool. So that was kind of like one scenario on how you start adopting Ansible is to identify something that is not automated today, and so now you can leverage the Ansible to help you. The second stage is about orchestration as well. So if you actually do see siloed automation in your system today, or you have the need to automate across different environments, Ansible can help you to be the orchestrator or the glue code. Because with the collections that we introduce in our offering, you can still use Ansible to call your existing JCL, call your existing Rex program, or call your existing ZOSMF workflow, right? And that can help you to be able to automate and orchestrate, right? Kind of a new environment or new use case that required stitching all these existing automation and plus building new automation together. And then finally, the kind of like the final stage or options that you can think about is to really do the replacement, right? So if there's some automation that you need to update, that you may consider to replace it using Ansible so that it can be, so new skills can apply to, in the future to maintain the automation. So those are kind of like, I would say the three options that you can keep in mind in terms of how Ansible can help your environment. And I think this is there's no like black and white answer on how you do it. It really depends on your environment and your need. But I think Ansible really opened up the door to help you with that as well, right? So if you look at provisioning use cases, you have the option to use Ansible, or you have the options to use ZOSMF, or kind of interchange one with the other. Is really up to you. But we really want to show you how Ansible have been widely adopted with many enterprise, and we do have, ability to help you to now with the option and functionality that you have the choice that you can actually use Ansible to help you with some of the many of your automation needs. So I hope that actually clarifies some of the questions I have in mind. And if you have more specific ones, feel free to put in the chat. So when I see the pop-up, I can answer that. All right, so let me move on to the next one, which is the IMS Collection. So in the original video, it is going to be covered by my colleague Brian, and he is the architect. So I'm probably going to skip through some of these at a high level. Again, I will try to make the video available afterwards so we can actually replay in details. So what you actually see in the screen right now is Ansible Galaxy. So basically, he's showing how the you can actually look up the different collections available. See if I can. Right. So if you go to Ansible Galaxy today, which is the open source version for our content, if you do a search on the IBM_US_IMS, you will be able to actually find the IMS collection. So as I mentioned, there is a number of collections and also samples available. So when you actually do the search, you should see all the ones that I mentioned in this presentation. So today we actually provide a number of different functions as part of the IMS collection, as you can see here. We have the ability to help you to do things like populating your IMS catalog. We actually support like ACB, DBD, and PSB gens. We allow you to submit IMS DBRC commands or any of the generic IMS commands as well. So if we allows you to actually submit IMS type 2 commands, basically. And also some of the command utilities that we support as well. So we can see here is a kind of a high level of the functionality that we are providing, in here. Let me see if there's anything else. And the other thing that we want to show you is the documentation as well. So we have a very robust documentation in terms of describing each of the modules, all integrated under our offering, so we can find the documentation covering the different products, including IMS. Just see what else that he showed here. And then each of these we will kind of get into detail. So you can see our documentation showing all the different modules that I mentioned earlier in terms of the functionality. So you can also find it there with some of the examples. So you can see right now on this screen, right, it's a sample playbook to show you how you will be able to use the PSB gen modules, right, to do the task. And what you see here is a sample kind of a playbook examples, and so you can specify all the options as if you would do it in JCL, but now you can do it in the YAML file format. Very simple and straightforward. Again, it's it's kind of a language and skills that will be commonly recognizable by a lot of the developers that is already familiar with Ansible. So that's kind of like the whole point for supporting this, right? You can actually leverage any of the skills that you have that already know Ansible. So these are pretty trivial to them, and all you have to they have to learn is what are the parameters and options they need to set in order to actually execute this piece of code to run the IMS PSB gen. So it's really lower the level of requirements. Okay, so let me go to the next chart. So let me actually cover a little bit about the use cases. So as you see, like a very quick kind of a screen captures of some of the modules that are available today. These are some of the ideas on how you'll be able to leverage those modules to help you to be able to adopt the IMS collections to do the automation in the IMS environment, right? So for example, if I am a developer, I have been working on a application change, like a COBOL source change, and now I have actually changed my COBOL application source code. I need to redeploy, compile my application, and redeploy the COBOL modules onto my IMS system. I have to restart my region, restart my trend, and maybe the program as well. So traditionally, a lot of clients' environment is even though they can use IDZ or other IDE tooling to actually manage the COBOL application building, but they will still require the developer to log onto this IMS environment using ISPF, and they have to run a JCL to restart the region and all the environment. Now, to do it in a modern way using Ansible, you can do all of those tasks using the Ansible Playbook, meaning that leveraging all the modules that we have provided in our offering, you'll be able to use Ansible Playbook to compile your code. You'll be able to use Ansible Playbook to use the submit IMS command modules so that it can actually help you to um, um, restart your region, right? You can issue a command to start and stop your program or the transaction such that the updated modules can be used and the IMS application will be refreshed. Now, if you have existing JCL that's already like restarting the region, you can also use Ansible to call those JCL to restart the region as well. So from the developer perspective, they no longer need to log on to to ISPF to call that JCL, because now they can use the Ansible script that can be called from their laptop, directly using a very simple basic command line program script, and our offering will be able to do all the work behind the scene to help them to, issue the IMS command or call your JCL to help them to restart the environment. So from a developer perspective, it's a much better experience in terms of working with on a mainframe program. So that's one of the example. So another one is like, DevOps engineer can be able to use a playbook to generate a new PSP and to update the program, right? So that also involved in a DevOps and application deployment pipeline. So now you'd be able to use Ansible to, call your PSP gens, and that could integrate into from a Jenkins pipeline, because Jenkins will be able to call a Ansible playbook directly. Other ones is like system administrator can help you to query the status of IMS transaction, again supported by our IMS command module. So you can have the IMS command is being issued from the Ansible modules and being integrated to send a notification and report. Database administrator can issue IMS command, for example, to take an IMS off database offline for processing and put it back online. And all those capabilities are already available to you through the modules that is part of the collections that I showed you in the previous chart. There are a number of other DBA's use cases like populating a new catalog, orchestrating new automations, working with the existing ACP Live and then manage ACP directory. DBAs can use the DBRC commands that I mentioned earlier to kind of examine information in the recon data set or doing image copies, or it can also allow the database administrator to issue command to register new database with recon or run cleanups or maintain the task. So here is just a few use cases, right, to help you to kind of visualize what can be possible to use the modules that I described earlier, from an IMS perspective.
Haley, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
It's been typed in by Kieran Pennell-Hale. He asks, what security is used when submitting from Ansible?
So the security is pretty much adhere to what RECAF or IMS requires to do. So as part of the playbook, there are environments that variables that you have to set up. So you have to mention about where is your target IMS system. It is actually using SSH as the one of the required setup to actually get into your mainframe system. So when you're actually getting into IMS side, you will have to provide additional, log on information if needed, or the SSH will be able to help you to actually get access to the system. So the security is pretty much we leverage on what is being required on the mainframe system today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I know I only have a few minutes left, so let me just kind of continue. Yeah, so I'll just kind of pause here. Let me just let it play a little bit longer. So I mentioned that some of the content that we have available today is not in terms of the collections, but you're going to find it available on GitHub as part of the Playbook repository. So if I just let it play a little bit lower, right? So you can actually see there is a list of the different Playbook, sample playbooks available today, right? In terms of some of the basic operations, right? Copy and fetching data set. Provisioning, we have, samples for provision IMS TM DB system, COS Connect, leveraging the calling the COSMF CPNM template, and then also the applications and deployment as well, right? Right. So we have a sample from IMS provisioning, and including the provisioning and deprovisioning. We also have a COBOL application deployment sample is already available from IMS as well. So that kind of covers some of the example I mentioned, that if you want to use some of these playbooks to help you to do your COBOL application deployment or redeploying existing modules, we do have samples available for you today as well. Okay.
Okay, Haley, I've got another question for you.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt you. Following on from the previous one, in Zoe CLI, IMS requires you to pass a password through in plain text. This is really a no-go for most organizations. Does Ansible require the same?
No, it would be different because Ansible use a more integrated approach, so it will be different from the Zoe experience.
Okay, great, thanks.
And I could provide some of the technical details from that later on.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I've got another question here.
Yeah.
How do you envision this working, given that we need change management for 99% of what we do in production?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Okay, yeah, Daniel Little said, how do you envision this working, given that we need change management for 99% of what we do in production?
Right. So I guess my question it will be the change management that you. So Ansible itself, I would say, is an enabler, right? So it enables you to build things for your needs. So it's not Ansible is not like a change management tool. Ansible is not an application, kind of like an out of the box application deployment tool product, right? It kind of helps you to build that task for your needs. So if I understand that question correctly, or I'll try to attempt to answer it, is it complements what you have with your change management tool today. So if you're looking for, you have an existing change management tool that is a traditional mainframe change management tool, and you want to move it to something else, right? Then you will have to find that modern change management tool, for example, like GitHub, which is one of the common ones. So the answer is not going to be Ansible, it's going to be that change management tool for you in the future. But you still have to have a tool, right? A product that actually dedicated for that task. But what Ansible can help you is to orchestrate the piece together. So if you were looking at a application deployment pipeline, you will have the need to be able to interact with a modern change management tool that manage your source code. You will actually have to do a build process. You have to do a deployment process and provisioning process. Ansible can be that orchestrator to help you to be calling the different steps along the way. Right, that's one approach. Or you may use some other pipeline tooling like Jenkins. So one of the examples that we have seen in terms of a application deployment pipeline and how Ansible kind of fit in that paradigm is, customer is trying to modernize a traditional mainframe pipeline that is using like a traditional SCM. They are still using some of the, JCL control, and they don't really have a pipeline per se. So the first step, they will first replacing their the SCM with GitHub, which is a more modern source code management repository system. They will have a pipeline like using Jenkins. And what Ansible will do is, if the Jenkins need to actually, make a call to compile your COBOL program, you have a JCL for that. Ansible can be used as the glue code to help you to be able to call from your Jenkins pipeline to call that JCL. So Ansible does have a modules and script they can use actually to do that. Now, if your pipeline do requires you to refresh your IMS components, right? And then again, Ansible can help you to actually to build that piece such that it can be callable from your modern pipeline. And maybe you will have a need to provision an application environment with all these changes so that you can actually run your automated test script. Ansible can help you to build that provisioning, a application environment to help you to actually run the test. So that's how we see Ansible normally fit in. It's not like a replacement of a tool, but it's just helping you to be able to modernize some of the pieces that you need as providing you the infrastructure and the functionality. So I hope that I answered the question the right way. If not, that I'm happy to set up any follow-up calls to specifically go through your use cases or a pain point and engage the right team to help you to see how you can actually make the first step in step of modernization, because there's a lot of different components or considerations that we can talk through.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right. Now we have only 2 minutes left. And so what I'm going to do is I saw another comment, but it just popped up. So I was able to catch that. Travis, is that another question? I just saw a
No,
pop
it's a thanks. It's a big question. That was from Daniel Little in response to your last answer.
Okay, perfect.
And don't worry about time. If you can run over, so don't be too quick.
Okay. So I have just a few charts left. I just want to cover, especially for getting started. As I mentioned, there are a lot of opportunities and use cases that we see, and we also heard from our clients in terms of leveraging Ansible. And from our experience, the way on how we work with our clients is like this, right? We kind of give them an overview introduction of Ansible, what are the offerings, what are functionality. But at the end of the day, we really have to kind of talk to each of the clients, in each of the different cases scenario, really helping them to understand their pain points, and then so that we can start recommending what they can do. And here is a couple of few slides that I actually want to share with you to help with getting started. This is probably the first time you're hearing about our offering. So the best of it is probably have you to just hands-on and try out and just kind of get a feeling to see how this will work, and help you to kind of come up with some ideas on how you may be interested to implement this in your environment. And then we can definitely help you to guide you through the next step. So the first thing that we make it available to you is the IBM Z trial. Again, I think many of you is already familiar with the Z trial. It's a free, no install offering that we provide to our user for, try out any of our new function and capability from IBM. So you can go into follow this link and then also register to get a trial with the the Ansible IBM Z trial. So what you'll be able to do is to get a kind of a guided steps to help you to build a playbook utilizing our core collections to kind of use a very simple use case to see how Ansible actually work, in the environment, how to actually program it, and what kind of functions available to you. So I highly recommend is the first step if you want to learn a little more about the Ansible offering. The second thing is once you kind of get a feel of what it is, we also have a next step offering, which is you can actually request a free trial. So you can actually request an Ansible automation platform free trial so you can actually apply into your own environment. It is a 60-day self-supported subscription for a free trial that you can actually apply for your environment. So you can actually try it out. This is not just the IBM Z offering, it actually covers the whole Ansible platform. So that will be another way if you want to try the IBM Z trial version, you want to apply to your environment. If you do not have Red Hat today, you can actually look into this free trial. But if you already have Red Hat Ansible already on the distributed platforms, right? You can actually use the IBM our offering right away because the IBM Z offering is available for all the subscribers for the existing Red Hat Ansible customers. So again, if you already know that some of your colleagues or some other environment already using Ansible, we can help you to get started to add the IBM Z offering for the Ansible piece to get you started. And that does not require any additional fee or charge because it's already kind of covered in your in the subscription, as well as we also have the Galaxy options available for you, which is the open source edition, which is available for you for free. And then another, after you actually have the Ansible environment set up, is as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of playbooks, sample playbooks already available to you. And so you can actually look into that, follow this link, and this is particularly useful if you already have some skills, knowing how to run Ansible playbook, but you also just want to kind of explore the IBM Z functionality. Here's a list of some of the requirements for how to get the Ansible available and installed on your environment. So you can see that you will need to enable OpenSSH. You will install Python. It does require the Z Open automation utilities, making sure that your Ansible is on version 2.9 or above, and then you can start installing our offering, the collections onto your environment. So these are all the information available that you can actually take a look at. Sorry again that it's automated advanced slides. I like that. So here is the list that available to you as your preference, as your references. And then and one more important thing is we actually have been building a very vibrant community. So if any of you is interested to actually learn more, feel free to use this link to join our Ansible community on the IBM community site. We actually have a lot of information, including our blogs, our recording and presentation, and we also have a monthly guide meeting. So if any of you want to learn more, we are welcome to any users to be any clients to be able to join, so we can hear our kind of latest information about our offering. Also, we have other clients presenting their experience about how they have been using Ansible. So there's a lot of information exchange that actually happen in those calls as well. So any of you is interested, let me know. I can work with our lead and to add you to be part of that guild meeting that take place every month. So with that, I think that's the end of my presentation. And again, I apologize on the technical difficulties and really appreciate your patience. Any other questions that, do I have the time to take or?
Yes. Yeah, you're fine for a few more minutes. There is one from Bo Ragnarsson who says, if Ansible does the compile, will Ansible also take care of dependencies? And he says compared to DBB.
Yeah, Ansible itself will not do that. Again, Ansible is a kind of an enabler, as I mentioned. So what we recommend our customer is you still uh, we still recommend you to use a tool that kind of dedicated for uh, application deployment or compiling. So in one of the samples, actually, I do in my other presentation is more focused on the DevOps. I show how Ansible can actually call DBB to actually do the build. So DBB still will be the tool that you have to use to help you to do the resolve all the dependency and all the build script. But Ansible will be able to help you to actually interact with the DBB engine to be able to actually do the build. And after the build, help you to actually copy the module in the right data set, and then also calling maybe your next script to be able to um, deploy and restart your system such that the updated code will be up and running.
Okay, great. If anyone else has got any questions, if they want to type them in now, I'll ask Haley. Here we are. Philip Severson says, I put questions in the Q&A. The Jenkins reference raised my curiosity about whether we need to add that for our command and automation work.
I would say Jenkins is a very popular pipeline engine that many of our clients use. So what we actually see is the conversation a little bit reverse is we have clients coming in and say Jenkins is already used in our enterprises, right? In clients can say they have been using Jenkins in all the environment for managing the application deployment components in the distributed platform, but they are not using on the mainframe. So the conversation normally when it comes to us is how we'll be able to integrate the existing or how we'll be able to deploy the mainframe application using the Jenkins pipeline that they already established. So that was normally the start of the conversation is not so much about, not kind of the reverse way, but they said they already been using Jenkins and they want to be able to also manage the application deployment on the mainframe, including using Jenkins as well. Now, if you do not have a modern pipeline for your mainframe component today, and you want to pick one, then there will be the other kind of like the other conversation is then you will have the choice. Jenkins could be one of them. But if you haven't used any of those, that Jenkins is not the only one, but it will be a popular choice. You can also use Ansible as an orchestrator to help you to do the application deployment as well. But you do have more choices. So I would say just want to make sure that when you clarify is Ansible does not dictate the use of Jenkins, but it's more like the customer has been telling us that they have Jenkins. They want to see how they can integrate Ansible or integrate some of the application deployment processes with Jenkins, and we tell them that Ansible will be able to help you to integrate those together. I hope that answered the question.
Yes. Okay, brilliant. All right. I think looking at the time, if anyone's got any more questions, then they can either send them to Haley or else you can send them to me, and my email address will be on screen shortly if you don't have it anyway. And I'll pass them straight on to Haley, and I'm sure she'll get back to you as quickly as possible. So, Haley, can I thank you very much?
Yeah, one last comment is because what I heard today, there are a few questions that are related to specific for the application deployment and CI/CD use case, right? It seems that there is a general interest on as an IMS system programmer or, an IMS person, how will be able to participate or be part of the CI/CD or application deployment modernization? It seems like the question is coming from that angle. I actually do have another presentation which is very focused on the CI/CD pipeline. This one is kind of like a more general presentation talking about Ansible and IMS, but I have another one is more focused on the CI/CD use case, which might be helpful. So Trevor, that could be one of the future presentation if I could come back, or if any of you want to have a more one-on-one discussion about the application deployment use cases and how we can help you, not just Ansible, but other IBM tools can actually help you to do the modernization. Contact me. I know I just share my email on the screen right now, and we can follow with a more specific one-on-one conversation with you. I'm really happy to get you started.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I mean, I'll email you later and we'll see if we can arrange a date for you to come back and do that second presentation. That would be brilliant.
Sounds good.
All right, smashing. Thank you. Yes, I was going to say we're a virtual user group, so as always, assume that you're getting a virtual round of applause from your audience. So thank you very much. What I'm going to do now is just take control back, if I can, and show my screen. Let's see. Oops. Right, let's go back to my PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Yes, so news. I think the IBM has announced IMS Central, a new one-stop shop website for IBM IMS innovations, educations, and customer engagement. They claim it's an easy-to-use hub with links and information on IMS. There's actually the link for that on our website, so if you want to have a look at that, I think that's the old GitHub site, isn't it? That's done that. As for articles and blogs, we've got how does IMS 15.2 performance stack up compared to IMS 15.1? That was by Richard Anticol in the IMS part of the IBM Z and Linux One community. And again, the link for that is on our website. Yeah, as always, can I ask for feedback about this meeting? And again, there's my email address is on there, so if you need to contact me, you can use that. And then meeting dates for the future then. So 8th of February, we've got Dusty Rivers. You remember GT Software? Well, now they're called Adaptagent. And he's going to be talking on the 8th of February. I haven't got a finalised title for that. And then moving on to the 12th of April, we've got how to use IMS log records to investigate transaction response time. And the presenter for that will be Lok Tran, lead software developer at BMC Software. Oh yeah, just a reminder that you can keep up to date with what's happening in the world of IMS and on the virtual IMS user group website by following us on Facebook and Twitter and by joining the virtual IMS group on LinkedIn. The URLs are on screen, but they're all on the homepage of our website, so that's probably easier. And if you do tweet or anything on social media, the hashtag to use about us is hashtag virtual IMS. So that's it for this meeting of the virtual IMS user group. Can I thank you all for attending? I particularly want to thank Haley Fung for today's presentation. That was really interesting. And of course, thanks to Rocket Software and BMC Software, the people who sponsor our user group and allow all this to happen. So that's it. Thank you all very much for joining the meeting. And I look forward to seeing you next year on the 8th of February. So thank you all and goodbye.